What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Christian Hanna Horror. Today, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the new Scream Factory Blu-ray of April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day is one of the first slasher movies I really watched when I first started getting into the slasher craze around 2009, 2010. I remember watching My Bloody Valentine and April Fool's Day. So I have a great affliction with this movie. I love this movie so much. And literally has been years since I've gone back and rewatched April Fool's Day. Not because I didn't like it. I loved April Fool's Day. Now, I already had that certain sense of cynicism with slasher movies of, you know, somebody's killing everybody and you're getting ready to find out who it was. Granted, the name of this movie is April Fool's Day, so looking back, I should have known better, but I was really surprised when you found out that the whole thing was a joke. And I would be lying to myself if I said that maybe it didn't upset me a little bit or felt cheaped out a little bit. But whenever I go through a movie like that, I tell myself, well, did you enjoy the ride? And I was like, well, absolutely, I enjoyed the ride. I loved April Fool's Day. And looking back on it now, I would tell myself the same thing. What do you mean you're upset about the ending? Wasn't the movie so great to you? So what if the whole thing was a joke? So, you know, hopefully whoever's watching this has seen the movie already. I'm sure everybody has. April Fool's Day is a classic. But what I really liked about this movie, it's from the Paramount label, and I just find that really nice because Paramount, as we know, put out Friday the 13th, and then they did a couple other slasher flicks, this being one of them, to basically capitalize on the genre, and I just think that's really cool and fun considering, you know, the legacy of Paramount being embarrassed with Friday the 13th and still making them even though, you know, they acted like they hated it. You know, it's just funny, and here's other slasher movies they were doing around the heyday. But April Fool's Day, upon rewatching this Blu-ray, I still have so much love and adoration for this movie. If I was going to ever make a list of, like, unique slasher films, like a top 5 unique slasher films, April Fool's Day would arguably be number 1 or 2 because this movie is one of a kind in a sense. It's really fun. First of all, the characters in this movie I think are great. Everybody has that unique style, unique flavor to them where you can identify whether it's the main character or whether it's a side character or, you know, a co-star. You can identify with somebody, and I was able to do that with this movie, which is so nice. I love to be able to just say, this is the person I'm like in this movie. I'm gonna kind of be akin to them in a sense. And I love that about these slasher films because, you know, I set myself up. I really want to be able to, like, feel the pain when somebody I care about in a movie goes through a horrible scenario. We have some really interesting characters in this movie, especially the likes of Amy Steele, as we know from Friday the 13th Part 2, and then Biff Tannen from Back to the Future is in April Fool's Day. So seeing him in this is really, really cool and really, really fun. I think this movie is a staple for any slasher fan. I think April Fool's Day deserves the praise it gets. I think April Fool's Day is special because it doesn't have any sequels, and I really like that. Sometimes just being on its own is what it's all about and kind of helps the legacy, I think. Now, if this movie would have got bogged down with multiple sequels, we would just be able to bring it up and say, oh, April Fool's Day is great, but you'd always have this huge portion that would just say, oh, but the sequels are horrible. And to not have to worry about that, to not have to think about that, kind of makes movies like, you know, My Bloody Valentine, another Paramount slasher, and April Fool's Day special. They're these one-offs around this era of just slashers, and particularly a lot of movies that were getting sequels. And I like that it's its own animal, it's unique, and it's by itself. It's April Fool's Day. And I think that's really cool, and I really love this movie, and I like the fact that the ending is a trick, you know. I know that Pizzow had let me know that there was apparently footage of an actual killer in this movie. It's a legend. It's been talked about. I've heard about it, but I never really thought much of it. But when he told me that, no, apparently it's a real thing, it would have been nice to see that, but apparently that footage is gone, and no one knows where it's at. It's either destroyed or, you know, if it does exist, it's either probably in disgustingly bad shape or just no one knows where it's at. But I like April Fool's Day exactly the way it is. You know, I know that this slasher movie is one of the last greats, I think, that hasn't gotten a Blu-ray release, although I'm sure there's still plenty, but one of the real big USA mainstay slashers, April Fool's Day. It's so great to see this Blu-ray finally come out and to see Scream Factory do it. At first, I wasn't sure about this artwork, but I like that it doesn't look like everything else. It's got its own style, and it looks different. The doll versions of everybody. I like the look of this Blu-ray. I think it's really cool. So obviously, I love April Fool's Day. I think it's a fantastic movie. Now, as far as this Blu-ray goes from Scream Factory, these special features are fairly thin. We do have new interviews with director Fred Walton, actress Deborah Goodrich Royce, and Clayton Ronner, cinematographer Charles Minsky, and composer Charles Bernstein, who I believe did Nightmare on Elm Street's music, because I did love the music in April Fool's Day. Theatrical trailer and TV spots. So, not able to get a massive array of special features. But you know what? There's still stuff here that I enjoyed watching. I enjoyed the special features on this. You know, just really great stuff. But I tell you, this is a great addition. The picture quality on this was really good. I'm not sure what kind of scan this is. I think it's just 1080p high definition. But it looks like a 2K, almost a 4K scan to me. I mean, it looked fantastic on my television. So guys, definitely get this new Blu-ray from Scream Factory April Fool's Day. I'm really excited to have this now. I didn't realize how much I missed and loved this movie until I was able to rewatch it, and probably the best viewing experience we will ever have for it. That's April Fool's Day, guys. I give this slasher movie 5 out of 5. I really do. I just love this movie. So thank you guys for watching this video. Check out April Fool's Day from Scream Factory. Pick it up if you don't have it. We'll see you guys next time.